Hello, welcome to another MTT. Now, this isn't one of mine, this is one of a friend's. This is a hyper, I think. As I assume. It's a turbo, so not a hyper. It's a Cineco that costs $8. It's 180 people, so 20 tables. And we're just gonna go hand through hand. Now 6-3, I assume he's gonna fold this. Let's just see how it plays out. But folds. This guy might open 3.5x bit wide. Yeah, he folds. 8-7 probably fold as well. Yep. Next hand. So gonna go over this Ace-3 pretty early, probably a fold, and it is a fold. 5-10 under the gun, standard fold. Big blind, Jack-10 suited. Let's see what it does here. Folds around to the cutoff, who just limps. Button fold, small blind should limp as well. Small blind to raises actually, and we fold. Now, actually think call here would have been fine. This guy is gonna call as well. We have to pay 60 to play a pot of 240. Of course, we're not that deep. Like we want to preserve some chips. We're still early, but this guy has been. You know, that's 80 is a bit too high. Let's see if it gets a showdown or what happens. I would have missed completely though. Guy C bets and he gets a fold, so no clue what could have been. Ace Jack on a small blind, probably raise. 50 seems fine. 40 would be fine as well, as that seems value. And then we get 3-bet and stuff, and we can maybe be a bit more aggressive. 9-6 off on the button, under the gun limp, so we should fold here, especially with the under the gun +1 raising, and we do. 6-10 in the cutoff, might be a steal, but someone raises before us, standard fold normally. Yep, and it's a fold. 9-2 suited, I think it's middle position, well it's a hijack, but with an open under before us, we're just gonna fold this. And we do. King-6 suited, might want to open with this, but we're way too early in the tournament. Limper before us, guy has been active though. We can look for a position to punish this guy. Queen-3, obviously not a hand, and the guy isn't even active in it. Here I would go to 90 with this hand, just try to isolate this guy. We are ahead of this range, scare a bunch of people behind us. Like, this guy's way too active, we should find spots to punish him, and that hand would have been fine to do so. And we can see bet on that flop against that guy, and he should have to fold often enough. Anyway, look at it, he had King-9 suited, so would have folded on the flop anyway. Although the flop was his suit, right? No clue what hand we had here. 4-8, obviously gone. Guy has been getting some shivs, but 3x from under the gun. I think a flat here is fine. I don't think we achieve much with a c-bet. Here I would check call, top pair, top kicker, and he does. 10 doesn't change much. 8-9 might have gotten there, but seems unlikely. Our opponent has that. Checks behind, so we should value bet on the river. Pretty scary card though. I might just check call here, but I guess we get called by words often enough. It's aces, so yeah, check call would have been fine, although this was more a block bet type since it was 2/3. Oh, 1/3 of the pot. Ace deuce, we still have 18 big blinds. Guy opens pretty wide here, pretty big, so he's never gonna fold this. Don't really care about the outcome. Yeah, ace king, that's nice. 6-5. We only have 18 big blinds. This is 2.5. Maybe we want to play this. We decide not to. Guy's range is pretty tight apparently, so I think a fold there is fine. 8-7 here if we can open it, or depending on who opens. This guy opens 3 big blinds. I guess we call this normally. I would call this like this guy's way too wide. This guy's way too wide. We actually would have flopped an open ender and would have gotten it all in here with some fold equity from the opponents, I guess, although we do get called by an ace often enough. Wouldn't have gotten there, but I'm just curious what these guys have, and it doesn't get to showdown, or doesn't get shown. But I think we could have called there. Like, this guy called as well. We did have the odds. Sure, it's a hyper, so I don't have that much experience in it. 3.5x. We're only down to 9 big blinds. So we're definitely looking just for a spot to shove here. Queen deuce is not gonna be it, so we're just gonna fold that. Yeah, this guy's been really active. Jack 10 not gonna be it either. Queen 6 not gonna be it either. 8-6 not gonna be it. Queen deuce on the big blind. Big blind is always interesting because yeah, this is the fault. King 7 maybe. These positions are something you have to keep in mind. This is just a call. This guy shoves though, so we have to fold. Deuce 4 on the button. We have a caller in front of us, so we have to fold that. We would have flopped 2 pair. Queen 4 folds to us, so we might shove here. Yeah, we do. I think it's a fine shove. Queen high is fine, I guess. We do need to shove at some point because we can't just keep on blinding out, especially not in the hyper. Ace-jack, standard shove here. Like, even if someone opens before us, I think we have to shove. We have 6 big blinds. Like, we have to do this, especially with a strong hand as ace-jack. If we get called, we're pretty sad because we're usually beat then, but 9-3 not gonna be it, 7-8 not gonna be it, 6-10 suited not gonna be it either. Yep. 8-9, nope, under the gun of course. Big blind, queen. We have 8 big blinds. Under the gun plus 1 shove, so we have to fold this. Especially if someone behind us calls. Ace-king versus ace-king. So I would have had live cards, I guess. 8-9 suited, again, this is just shove fest because, you know, this is hyper. So we're just looking for positions to shove and to call. Because everyone, yeah, as you can see, everyone's slow. Oh, we had an undergun open. I'm like, why didn't we shove the button? But 7-3 fold, ace-queen versus jack, 6-4 fold. Ace-king, standard shove here, 5 big blinds. Never gonna fold that. Hope to get a call from ace-queen or something, but we don't get a call. So we just pick up the blinds. That's 3 times we shoved and haven't gotten a call. We're almost back at standard stack. Ace-8, pretty early. We might wanna fold this. Because if we do get called, we're usually beat. So we have to get lucky. We have like 30% here normally. Unless this guy has an under pair, but then we're just flipping. So the guy has a worse ace. King 10, he called us with King 10, wow. Pretty surprised there that we get a call from King 10 and actually our ace high is good. Seeing that we did that from middle position, I think the call with King 10 suited is terrible. Like, suit doesn't matter, it's just King high. If he figures that it's 2 live cards, it's still a bad call. And not really the way he should have played that. And here we did it with Queen 9 and he's gone. So, just bad play by him. 9s, 13 big blinds, of course. This is hyper or turbo. Guy opens pretty big. We might want to fold this. Because at best we're in a flip. And at worst we're definitely crushed. Our hand can even be beat here. Wow. 9s are good here? No, right? I thought so. Wow, we had ace-6. That's terrible. Wow. I should play turbo a bit more if people do stuff like that. ace-6. So we actually were in the advantage. I never thought we would have had a lead there, but doesn't make a difference. He hit his ace. 7-8 probably a fold. Yeah, 9 deuce fold. Oh wow, aces versus ace 10. 8-5 fold. Pocket 9s again. This time middle position, especially 4 big blinds. We're just gonna get this all in. Even if these 3 people go all in, I think maybe then we can find a fold, but probably not. So this guy calls again. He has called us previously with terrible hands. This guy's in for 1 big blind, so he's gonna have anything, and our 9s are gonna be good here. Like, unless he has a jack, I don't see him having no repair. This time he did have a hand though, but doesn't make a difference because he has done it with a bit worse hands. Ace-8 here again, middle position. This time we do fold it, I guess, because we're a bit higher in big blinds, and this guy is gonna go auto all in with any 2. We have to play 3-way pot then. I guess the fold is fine. I would have folded the previous ace-8 anyway as well. I got lucky there to get called by King 10. So we switched tables, 8-4, so now we're up here. Ace-4 on the big blind. Let's see what happens before us. Under the gun, min raises. I think this is a flat call. That's curious. Like, we have to pay one big blind to play a pot. Now our range might be ahead of him. We don't have any read on him though. So it might be a correct fold. I think it's a bit too greedy to fold there, although this is turbo. You want to preserve as much of your stack, but I think we do want to see a flop here with ace-4 offsuit, because an ace might be ahead of his range. So next hand, please. Oh, there it was. Deuce 5 fold, of course. King 3 on the bottom. Let's see what happens. We only have 9 big blinds here, so we might shove here. We do with king high. I think king high in hyper is still fine. It's ahead of their range. Of course, if we do get a call, they tend to have like a stronger raise or maybe a better king. So we might just min raise. Yeah, he just had a better king. We got lucky by hitting R3. I mean, in these hypers or turbos, you obviously need some luck because you're gonna be flipping a lot or be dominated a lot. I think the king shove there is fine. Like, you have 9 big blinds. You're up against a small blind and a big blind. Sure, if they call, you're usually behind, but you tend to have lifeguards. I think you have to do it there, and I would do the same. Ace queen here. Wouldn't shove here. I think probably would like go. Wow, shove, huh? I think this guy also has 17 big blinds. Ace queen is ahead of his range. We could go to 750, and if he then shoves, we call. Like, we want to get it all in a way. Like, shoving 19 big blinds there is a bit too high, especially with him having 17 big blinds. We're just gonna get called by pocket pairs and maybe ace king. The only hand that calls us there that we're not flipping against or we don't have beat is ace jack. And I think we just want to go to 750 there. They go 750, 2.5x. Guy shoves on us. We're calling anyway, but I think if we open shove here, we can never find a fold anymore, and we're only gonna get called by a flip or a domination. Although we have seen people with king 10, but the guy has 17 big blinds. He's one of the bigger stacks at the table. He's not gonna want to tangle with you anyway. You're gonna risk less chips. I think a shove here with 19 big blinds was a bit too high. Let's click play. King 6, that should be a fold in middle position. We do have a bunch of big blinds, but yeah, it's a fold. 7-8 offsuit, fold as well. Aces versus 4s, huh? King 8, 3x under the gun, so fold there. We're switched tables again. Jack 5, middle position, fold. 9-8, early position, fold. 8 deuce, fold. Ace 10 in the big blind. Let's see. So the guy has one big blind, obviously calls here. Someone's gonna shove over that, and I'm not sure what to think about that. So he opens, he always opens. I mean, everyone knows this is very weak. Like, this guy shoves in for 4 big blinds, so we have to post another 3 big blinds, assuming this guy folds. Let's see. Oh, this guy shoves on us, so this now becomes an easy fold. Probably feels that this is actually not that easy of a fold, because he probably thinks that his range is better than his range, and he might just have a pocket. We block an ace, so the odds of him having an ace is lower, and he might have a weaker raise, so we might be flipping against him and up against a weaker raise. But do we want to take a flip for a full stack here? I don't think so. I think I would fold this, but I wouldn't be against the call if you have a decent read on this guy, because he might have a weaker raise anyway, and probably has a pocket, and this guy has a weaker raise, I think. So, oh, he had jacks. Oh, actually had a stronger raise. Wow. Total misread by me there. Jacks and ace king. But I think if he doesn't shove, we call him in a way with a raise 10. So thank God this guy shoved. Yeah, not interested in how this hand plays out. Ace king on the button. We have 13 big blinds. We're still ahead, except of this guy. This guy shoves. Did it with ace king before. Very unlikely that it's ace king. I think this is a reshove or a call. Whatever, doesn't really matter. And we get another call here, which is scary. We flop Broadway and overcard, so we need to hit a 10 and ace. Maybe our ace king is even good, but seems unlikely. Ace king and guy shows king 10. We actually split the pot here. That's not that bad. Could have been way worse. Understand his call by with ace king. His with king 10, not so much. I mean, king 10 that early, pretty weak. Like here, standard shove by this guy on a guy with 3 big blinds. Like any 2, doesn't matter, wants to take 40% anyway. Because with full equity and so on. Ace 10, we have 12 big blinds. I would just like seeing a raise here. Like, there's no need to shove here. Because they have 8, 2, and 27 big blinds. Like, he might shove on us then, and we're willing to get it all in anyway. But now we're just gonna get called by a stronger range. I think we need to... Although 12 big blinds is pretty close. Because whatever we're gonna do on the flop, we're gonna shove there anyway. And we're giving the biggest stack on the big blinds. I guess a shove is fine. Again, new table, 3-9, 14 big blinds. We're just gonna fold that. Do is 8, we're gonna fold that. 6-10, we're gonna fold that. Queen 9, early position, gonna fold that. Queen deuce under gun, fold, and then we're in the big blind with jack 10 off. Let's see what happens before us. 13 big blinds calls, 9 big blinds. It's an interesting call. Let's put it at that. So we flopped up 2. I think we should check here. Guy shoves on us, and we obviously call. I think if we check here and he bets, we can shove, and he's gonna call us anyway. We're never getting away from this hand, but there's no need to lead out. Like, which card is gonna come in the turn that's gonna scare us that much? Maybe a heart, but there's only 8 of them. And even then, like, I'm willing to give this guy a free card to make him improve his hand. Like if he has 5-6 or something, and if 6 comes, we're gonna get it all in. Now he shoves here anyway. I assume he has like ace jack. Although his limp is pretty strange. Like, he might have queen 9 here, although I don't see him having that then. So terrible shove, I guess. Ace jack, yeah, okay. So would have gotten all in anyway on the flop. But I think our leading out is a bit weird. We could have check raised there. But we're definitely looking to get it all in, of course. Not playing this hand, so we're gonna fold this. King 6 on the button. We have a shove, an open before us, so the guy has 3 big blinds. I guess we figure that this guy is gonna fold, and then we only have to pay 3 big blinds to win 4.5, 5 big blinds. So 3 big blinds to win 5. It's not 2-1, and our king is pretty dominated here. I think this is maybe a bit too loose, because this guy is gonna do that to this guy anyway, and our king might not be good here. It's usually not good, and yeah, he calls as well, so we need to get lucky here. Totally misses us. Totally misses us. Totally misses us, and we're just gonna lose this hand, aren't we? Yep, shows aces and king 9. So as I said, like, our king is never gonna be the best hand here. Like, this guy min raises with a stack of 3 big blinds. It's never gonna fold, right? This guy, if we just fold, he's not gonna get away with it, because this guy, no matter what his cards are, he's gonna shove on this guy, because yeah, I don't know, I don't see him getting away from that and just letting him go, because it's the same logic we use. We have to pay three big blinds to win 5. Like, position doesn't matter here when you're all in. And our king is almost never good. Like, they're suited, sure, but that's 2%, which is garbage anyway. And if we shove, we still have 2 people to get through. They might wake up with a strong ace. They might wake up with a pocket pair. In this case, they had aces. Like, sure, that's a bit of a beating, but I don't think I would even do anything here with King 6. I think a fold there would be fine, because this guy or this guy is gonna, well, at least this guy's gonna do it often enough. Yeah, and you see he is pretty active, so we would have called that guy anyway. Open before us, 9-5, Queen deuce, fold. Jack 10 early should be a fold, right? Yep. 6-3 on our gun, fold. Kings in the big blind. That should be a double up, because someone's gonna shove here, and we're gonna snap it off. I mean, we have kings, right? Wow, what's gonna beat us? Pocket kings. Come on, baby. And yeah, we should have this. Like, not a lot that beats us here. Indeed, not a lot that beats us. King 10 in the small blinds, 5-handed, so I guess we're pretty deep. We could shove this, or we could raise. I think a raise here is fine. The guy has a lot of big blinds. We're both deep. There's 2 shorter stacks. I think we're pretty deep in the tournament here. Let's look at the amount of hands. Well, we're almost halfway there. But I mean, seeing that there's only 5 people at the table, the table's gonna bust pretty soon. I guess we're close to the bubble then. And King 10 is definitely ahead of his range. It plays pretty well post flop. So even if he calls, we're willing to play this post flop. And if he shoves, we can find fold. I think a raise here is way better than just shoving there. Ace Jack on the button. Again, the guy has 5 big blinds. I think I would go to 3,000 or 2,000. Yeah. Hope he shoves. His shove, I am gonna fold here. And we do. Yep. I think that's a good fold. Like Ace Jack. Although, let's look at this. Like, we're on the button. We're 6-handed. This guy might seem like he's trying to get it all in against this guy. Only willing to risk 5 big blinds, and he could be doing this a bit wider. But seeing that we both have 18 big blinds, I don't think I want to risk an entire stack with a terrible hand. I think I would be willing to fold my Ace Jack there as well, but definitely would think about it. But I think it's a fine fold. Like, this guy isn't gonna do that unless we have a general idea that he does that often. I think it's a really good fold. So here again, Ace Jack. I don't think I would open shove here with 16 bigs, especially not from big blind of 31 bigs. But I guess we did. Like, if he just flats here to our raise, we have great post-flop play because we have position. No, we do get there though. It was just a flip and we won it. But I'm not sure if shoving there with 16 big blinds with Ace Jack is that great. Now I think if we do open and then the big blind shoves on us, I'm not sure if we can find a fold there either. So maybe open shoving is better. But again, if you open shove, you decrease the range of your opponent's calling. While if you open bet, they're gonna shove on you with a wider range often. I think that's a reason to, especially if you have over 15 big blinds, that it's maybe a bit better to just open raise instead of open shoving with that amount of blinds. Here we have an all-in between 13 big blinds and 2 big blinds, like it's just 2 big blinds. This guy isn't gonna care about that. We do it with any king, any deuce, any king, any ace, maybe even any queen. King 5 depends on where the action starts. Guy has 20 big blinds, we have 28 big blinds. It's a min raise, we have to pay 1 big blind to pay king 5 out of position. We get decent odds, like 3, there's 4 big blinds here, we have to pay 1 big blind to win 4. I might call, I want to see a flop here, and we do. Totally miss, so we're just gonna check fold. I think that's fine. We could float with an overcard, but I think a check fold is fine. And we get pocket aces. Let's hope someone open shoves before us, huh? So 20 big blinds opens, we're definitely gonna 3-bet that. Not gonna shove, just 3-bet. Nope, we decide to shove. 26 big blinds against 20 big blinds, just wanna fold all of his hands. Like, let's just play out his hand, right? So the guy opens, has 20 big blinds. He min raises. So we have 2 blockers, so the odds of him having an ace are pretty low. He has 32%, he has a decent stack, he doesn't want to lose it all, he's just looking to pick off maybe this guy, or maybe just a big blind, because he feels that, yeah, this guy's gonna shove wide, because he has 7 big blinds, and so on. So, decision comes onto us, we have pocket ace, like, it's a monster, you're not gonna get a lot of pocket aces, we have 26 big blinds, so we have this guy covered, we won this entire stack. But we're not gonna overshove. He's not gonna call 18 big blinds. He's just gonna let his 2 big blinds go. Like ace jack, he's gonna fold. Any king high, he's gonna fold. The odds of him having an ace, meh. Like only a pocket there and a decent pocket would call us. I think a 3-bet here is fine to make him shove. Or we could even flat have this guy shove, and then he might reshove, and then we're obviously gonna get it all in because we have aces. But I think a shove here comes across way too strong, and we're gonna fall out way too many hands of this guy. Especially seeing that we have aces. Like if we have kings, we could do that because he's gonna call us with ace queen, ace jack, stuff like that. Sure, we're in way worse position then, but we're gonna get it all in with the best hand then. But aces, unlikely he has an ace, probably king high, maybe like king queen suited, and he's gonna fold that to a shove anyway because we have 26 big blinds, we have him covered. I think I would like a 3-bet on the small side. 5,500, 6,000, something like that. And maybe, as I said, maybe even a flat. Just trap him. We're out of position though, but I don't like the shove here. Like, what is it gonna call us with? Nothing, right? Only kings, queens, any pocket, maybe like, but pocket 8s and lower he might fold. Pocket 9s, 10s are pretty close. I mean, we have 26 big blinds, he has 20, he's never gonna do that. And he's opening wide, he has 35% VPIP. Like, don't like that. Like a 3-bet. 3-bet would be fine, flat would be fine. Flat was a problem that this guy would have called as well. Although he only has 7 big blinds, he might make a squeeze play, he might shove there with a weak ace, considering we're both weak. Again, this is fine because this guy has 9 big blinds, he opened, he's never gonna fold this. Because he only has to pay 7 big blinds, which is the remainder of his stack, already has 2 invested, so he has to pay 7 big blinds to win 1, 2, 3, 4 1, 2, 3, 4 plus another 9, that's 13, that's 2 to 1, he's never gonna fold that. This is a fine shove, because this guy has 2 to 1, has to call, like, he's never gonna fold any ace. Again, more likely that he has an ace because we have kings. Fine shove here, but with the aces against 20 big blinds, not a great shove there. Wow, this is a terrible board. If he has a 10, he wins, split pot. He actually has aces, so we're lucky that it's a split pot, but I mean, this is just cooler. We're never gonna get away with kings there, and I like the shove there, but the previous shove with our aces, not that much. You see what that guy did? Like, he had 9 big blinds and he min raised open. Like, he could have open shoved, but he's more likely. Okay, we have kings, but people would have still raised him with a wide range despite him having aces, and even if he just gets a flat from the big blind, the big blind might flat because it's like, yeah, I have the odds, I'm gonna call here. He might hit a pair and then be like, hey, I have top pair, I'm gonna shove it all in here, and you're like, yeah, I have aces, I actually have a better pair. So you're gonna double up way more than open shove with 9 big blinds there. Then open shove with the 9 big blinds, and your big blind is never gonna call unless he has a decent hand. No one's ever gonna call unless they have a decent hand. And you scare away way more hands than you want to. Of course, we had kings, like we're never gonna fold that there. But if we didn't and we folded, like the big blind would have folded. That's what I'm saying. But if you min raise, the big blind would have flatted, might have made a pair. Of course, you have the reverse odds where if he makes 2 pairs, you're screwed. But I mean, what are the odds, right? Here flush against ace 10. Yeah, okay. 7-8, 8-5, 9 deuce, 6s in the small blind, 22 big blinds. Let's see what we do with this. We have an open from a pretty decent stacked guy. We have a shove. We should fold this. We do, and the shove actually gets through. Jack 9 on the button. Jack 9 suited plays really well post flop, but we do have an open for 10 big blinds, so we should fold this. Guy has queens. 10 deuce fold. 3-6 fold. 10-5 fold. Queen 9 in the big blinds. 20 big blinds, again 5-handed. Small blinds opens. We get 2-1 for sure. We actually get we have to pay 1 big blind to win 3.5. We're both pretty deep. I think paying 1 big blind to see a flop with queen 9 is fine. Like queen 9 plays really well post flop. We're ahead of this guy's range because he's gonna do that so wide and try to steal her blinds. I think I would like a flat here, although yeah, we're both pretty deep. Like we're the 2 biggest stacks here. He's gonna do that pretty wide, I think. And we're gonna be in position post flop. He makes a C bet, and then we have a decision to make, of course. But I think I would like a flat call there. King 4. Let's see what to do here. We're 6-hand now. Folds around to 16 big blind guy. Min raises. And we should fold this, right? Yeah, we do. Queen 7 on the button suited. Would like a min raise if it folds to us. Nope, this guy really active and opens. And then he gets a shove, so I'm not sure if he should call. He does. Depends on his hand, of course. I'm pretty curious what this guy shows up with. Because we want his information. Guy has ace deuce, hit his deuce on the river. This guy had ace queen. Understandable that I did that. Because he has ace queen. We have ace 6 now, middle position, well hijack, but we get an open before us from. We get an open before us. We don't have much information on this guy who recently was placed at our table. And I guess a fold here is fine with a6. It doesn't play really nice. Post flop, if we get called, we're usually beat. But here, look at this. Like, big blind defense, which is fine because he has 24 big blinds and versus 32. Like, if he has queen 9 offsuit here, he should defend as well. And this time he's out of position. Like, the hand was where I was talking about our hand, we actually had position. So now he checks and he c-bets, and we're gonna have a hard time floating here because we're out of position. Like, how do you get value from this? We have to check anyway. And now we can lead on the river, but it's a scare river, so we have to check because we only get called by better unless we have a flush ourselves. We're never gonna lead out here. It's pocket horse. It's automatically beat. Like, I don't see why you would lead the river here, especially on such a scary card there. Like, it's not for value. If we beat this guy, we can just check. So fours are almost never gonna be good, and you can fold a lot of hands. But it's unlikely that he folds there. Yeah, I don't think that. Like, defense with fours is fine. The float with fours is fine. The check on the turn is a bit scary because I think if you float and then the flush comes in, you want to lead out, and he's gonna fold a lot of times. And if you play the hand differently, right? If if this guy bets on the turn and he floats that time with his queen, then you can shove on the river and that would be a fine bluff. But if you check on that turn and then the river comes in, which is a really scary card, and you then lay it out, like it seems like a bluff, and you're gonna get called by a wide range of flushes themselves, like 9 high flush, 8 high flush. It's gonna call you there as well, because what are you gonna float the flop with that you made runner flush? Not that much. Like ace king, but then you would shove pre-flop, and so on and so on and so on. Like king queen, maybe that's the hand you can represent, but I think that's the only hand. Plus he had the queen himself. Of course we can't know that, but I think that's the only hand we can represent there. King queen, queen jack with the king and the jack of spades. But that's about it. Here we have 10-8 on the small blind, in the big blind, sorry. A fold here is fine. We only have 14 big blinds. Like again, I think we can defend and play a bit more post flop. We don't actually tend to do that, and we're just losing a bunch of chips often. Pocket eights should be a fine hand here. We have 13 big blinds. Like an open shove is fine, or raise is fine. The problem is if we get called, we have a flip. We actually get called by 5 big blinds, so we're ahead here, I guess. And ace comes, pretty scary. Yeah, we're beat. Like, there's no way this guy shows up with worse. Nope, he doesn't. Uh, 4-6, that's a fold. King 5, that's a fold. Ace king, under the gun +1. 6 big blinds, it's a shove. Like, we want to get it all in a way. This guy's gonna call really wide. Like, we have 60%. Don't like that, but ace king is pretty strong. And this guy actually folds. That's bizarre. Like, it's 9 big blinds. He has already invested 2. He has to pay 7 big blinds. Oh no, we actually had 50. Wait, how many big blinds did we have? 6. Like, why does he fold? Like, I'm calling there with any 2 in this guy's position. Like, any 2. It doesn't really matter. We have 34 big blinds in a way. He had a perfect odds. So we were in a flip and we won it. So we're up to 16 big blinds now. Yeah, I have no clue how this guy does not call. Like, he would have called us anyway, and then this guy, sure, it's 3 extra big blinds, but it just increases your odds. Like, I wouldn't fold there. 8 big blinds, guy has 3 big blinds. Call, this guy should call as well, yeah. Like, this is what this guy did with the call there, this guy had to do as well. Like, I don't see myself folding there in the 2 cards. Jacks are probably good. And jacks are good. Wow, both had a flush draw. We have pocket queens. 9 big blinds to open, shoves. Gets fold to us, snap call. Pretty good board run out. Yeah, it's fine. Unless he has ace king or ace jack of spades, we should be good. He had pocket nines, so yeah. We had him crushed. 8-9, I assume this is a fold. Yep. 7-5 suited. If it folds to us, we might want to do something with this. This guy. Again, this guy has been opening wide. Let's look at his cutoff. No, he actually hasn't been. His cutoff is wow. So his early position, his middle position is way small blind and big blind is way wider. He doesn't play cutoff or button. And now he opens with a cutoff. I think we can defend here though. Like, this guy is deep enough as well. If we call, he might just flat as well. It's a pretty fine hand to play post flop. We had 7-5, so let's see what actually, how it actually plays out in total, and how the flop would have been, and how we would have played that. So we flat here normally, I think. 2 big blinds to the guy open shoves. Never mind. That would cost us 2 big blinds. and then we hit a pair here, so we wouldn't have folded. But he open shoved ace 8 and he had jack 9. So yeah, we would have been ahead on the flop against this guy. He did block our suits though, pretty scary, but would have been ahead. Open 6-2s, fold. Only 5 hand here, 6-4 under gun. Ace 3 in the big blind. Let's see what we do here. So we're second stack here. Button opens. I think a flat here is fine, or 3-bet. Like again, pay 1 big blind. We win 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 against 4. Never folding an ace there, even if we're out of position. Like this guy's range is gonna be huge. It's gonna be so wide that he opens there. Like, and a 3-bet would have been fine. A flat would have been fine. I don't see myself folding that there. Like, we have 25 big blinds. The guy has 19. That's deep enough. And we have an ace 5-handed, and the dealer button opens. Dealer buttons open insanely wide. Like a 3-bet would have been fine, and then we can fold to his 4-bets if he shoves. A flat would have been fine. I actually would have flatted and seen if I would have gotten somewhere with it. We can even flat and lead out on the flop if we want to. But his range is insanely wide there. 25 big blinds, 5-handed, and we fold pocket 5s. What? Okay, yeah, okay. I guess I can see that, because if you get shoved on and you're in a flip and you don't want to risk 9 big blinds, you're attacking at 20 big blinds with pockets, you don't want to set mine. I guess a fold there is fine. There's already 3 people behind you to act, but they're not that active though. It's 13 and 18. If this flop comes, we're pretty scared if we get called. Yeah. Ace queen versus king jack. Yeah, this guy would have shoved and would have had to fold, but it would have cost us 2 big blinds to see. If we get a call, we're playing in position. We can definitely represent an ace. Open shove there. Yeah, like this guy shoves to steal this blind. Only has 11 big blinds, so I guess that's understandable. 6 jack we fold. 4-9 we fold. Ace queen on the bottom. Let's see what to do with that. So we have 19 big blinds. We're attacking 15 and 16. I think you can 2.5x here and get a shove from one of these two, and then we just snap it off. Like, we're obviously not folding ace queen here, but I think we don't want to open shove because that scares him. And I think we just want to go 2.5x, like 7,500. We decide to open shove 19 big blinds and yeah, they fold. Like, we're willing to get it all in here. Why wouldn't we just raise? Like, if we get called with ace queen here when we shove, we're probably beat. Like, we're in a flip or beat. Like, maybe ace jack again, but ace king is there. And then any two has a 60-40. I think 2.5x is better, and we're just gonna snap off a shove anyway. But I think it comes across stronger, and we definitely should look into not open shoving 19 big blinds and look at how deep they are and how we can play this post flop if we just get called. And we're in position. We have a really strong hand, way ahead of their range. I don't see myself open shoving there just to win antes and then a small blind and a big blind. We want to get a call. We want to get an all in. We just want a 2.5 exit, and then it will be fine. 9-3 fold and deuce fold. 3-6 fold. 3-6 fold. 8-7 on the button. Let's see how we play the button here. We could open here. Not gonna shove. Now, look at this. Like, why do we min raise here now with 8-7 offsuit? If we just open shoved ace queen, it's if people catch on to this, they can read you. Like, they can say, oh, he min raised, he has nothing, I'm gonna shove on him. If we do not do the same thing with our strong hands, they're gonna know when to fold and when to shove over us. Like in this case, we're like, oh, we don't have a strong hand, we're just gonna steal. We're not looking to get it all in. We're gonna min raise to try to steal. Fine, that's fine if you do that. If you also do that with your strong hands, if you did this exact same thing, the guy 3-bets you and you fold, you're like, okay, I was stealing, I fold. Fine. And then the very next hand you get ace queen, yeah, the ace queen suited, and you do that again, and he's like, oh my god, he folded the previous time, so I'm just gonna 4-bet him here or 3-bet him here, and he's gonna fold again, and then you're like, yeah, I got it this time, I'm gonna shove you, and he's like, oh, I have the odds, I have to call, god damn it, and he calls it like ace 7 or something. You're like, yeah, I got all your chips. But if you do it like here with a7, sure, we flop an open ender, that's lucky, we can c-bet this. No clue why I don't c-bet this. We make the nuts now, and this guy's never gonna call us. Like on this flop, what the hell with this bet size? Like on this flop, we have great equity, like 33% at least. He checked to us. He can check raise, sure. But I think we're fine with getting it all in, and maybe I'd reevaluate then. But I think we wanna c-bet the flop because we're gonna get called by a flush draw. We're gonna get called by maybe a 9, maybe a 10, and at least then, if we do make it on a turn, we can get it all in. Like we can just shove here. Now this guy checks to us again. And want to charge him for his draw. We have the nuts. I'm definitely fine for betting, but why 1/5 of a pot? Like we're like, we want to get value out of this hand. This guy's never gonna have anything. We're gonna bet here and make sure he pays. That's basically the reasoning behind this 1/5 of the pot, right? Because you're like, the guy doesn't have anything. He's never gonna call us. If we bet like 8,000, 9,000. But we don't know that. This guy might be a total idiot, and he might call us here. But why 1 big blind? This guy has to pay 1 big blind to win 6. He's gonna call here so wide. He might call with any draw as well. And as soon as any draw comes in on a river, we're gonna be scared. Like shake. And what are we gonna do now? We have a paired board. Now we bet 12,000. Why now? We could have gotten it all in. We could have gotten his entire stack if he had like 10-9 here. Now 10-9, he wouldn't have gotten it all in anyway, but I don't see the reasoning behind the bet sizing of the 1/5. I think it's too weak. I think we want to bet at least 7,500, because again, if you only do that there to say like, hey, I have the nuts, I want to get value out of this hand, pay me. Why do you do that? Because with your bluffs you're gonna bet higher, right? With your bluffs you're never gonna bet 3,000 there. You're gonna bet 8,000. Well, if you're gonna do that with your bluffs, you have to do that with your strong hands as well. You have to play your bluffs the same, your strong hands the same way you would play a bluff or a steal or whatever, because they can't read you then. You have to balance that range, and in this case, you just don't. Your bet sizing is completely different when you have it and when you don't have it, and then that's not correct. So pocket sevens here, we're in the big blind. We have 23 big blinds. This guy has 2, so this is an insta call. 1 big blind to get it all in. To get it all in with probably a flip. I guess this is a decent flop for us, like only a 9. Well, the jack is a bit scary, but we should have this. Because he actually has jack 9. But I mean, his range there is insanely wide. I don't see ourselves folding 7s there anyway. So that's pretty standard. Queen 8. Again, if it folds to us, we probably would have min raised again. And then we're like, yeah, we're just stealing. But we would have shoved with ace queen. Like, that makes no sense. King 10 would like to see a min raise here as well. Yeah, that's fine. Then we get a shove down by 7 big blinds. So let's analyze this. That's 7 big blinds. That's 8. That's 9. 9 big blinds. We have to pay 5 for or 2 as well. So 5 for 11. We get 2 to 1. 2. Oh, it actually says here to 24 to 1. Wow, I never actually noticed that it said it there. So definitely call. I mean, we're never gonna fold that there. Any two. We actually have the nuts here. There's no way this guy has kings here. And he had king 4, so he actually probably was happy with the flop as well. But I mean, we had him crushed. As I said, we're never gonna fold that there. I think this is actually the final table, right? Yeah, this is probably the final table. And we're just four-handed. So I guess it's a bit a decent amount of pay jumps. And we're actually big stack here. 7-8 suited would like a defend if it's not a shove. Like if he mean raises, we'll defend. We should defend. Really? Really? Why would we fold 7-8 there? 7-8 suited is really great flop play. Like I would just never would fold that there. Like we're looking for this guy to lose. Fine, I understand that, but we're the big stack. We can bully this guy. We can 3-bet that. We can. I don't get that. I really don't. I would call there instantly and just see a flop. Like it cost me 1 big blind to see a flop there, and if we make it, he's gonna bluff at it anyway because he's gonna c-bet and we're gonna get more value out of it. Like we can bet our draws as well, get him off his hands. We're deep enough to make some plays post flop, and then if we make our hand, we're likely to get paid a bit. Like maybe a stack, and then we're smooth sailing. Instead we call here with king 7. What? Okay. Let's look at this hand. Well, we're under the gun. We're under the gun with a king, and we open to a mean raise. Okay, that's fine. This guy then 3-bets us through 18,000 bits, so we're almost the same stack. I'm gonna fold this here. Like, sure, we have position. We're terrible hand post flop play though, and we're out of position with we don't have the pre-flop aggression, so he's gonna c-bet his board anyway. And even if we hit our king, no clue where we're at. Like, just fold to the 3-bet. Like, fuck those 2 big blinds we just posted there. No one gives a shit about them. I'm not gonna pay another 250 to play this. But with a weak hand like king 7, I'm fine with opening with king 7 there. Like it's ahead of his range often enough. He then 3-bets out. He has us crushed. Just fold the hand, move on to the next one. There's no reason to play another 250 without the pre-flop aggression. Just throw it away. It's all in good spirits. I mean, if he folded that 7-8 in the big blind for 1 big blind, why on earth would we ever call with the king 7? There's no logic in that. Like the suited connector plays way better post flop than the king 7. Plus, it was a smaller pot, so we had more leverage to play the hand, like play a bit with the hand. And then if we folded that hand, the suited connector, we should have folded the 8-7 as well to the 3-bet. Because we're under the gun. Under the gun is usually pretty strong, so we fold there. I don't see why we call with the king 7 to a 3-bet. I think that's just losing chips. That's definitely wrong play. Like even here, like queen 4, sure we can open. It's a big blind of a big stack though, and it plays terrible post flop. Like I just fold this here. Instead, we open shove for 13 big blinds. We get a call. We're way dominated. I didn't know this before, but I would have folded queen 4 there. We hit our 4. Maybe he has the... goddamn, this is a terrible run out. We'll probably beat here, right? Wow, we still win this. So we eliminated this guy. As I said, like, I would have folded queen 4. Not because of this guy. Like, sure, he's going to shove white and we're going to have to call it. I mean, once we did that main raise, that's fine. To make the call there, and it too, right? But it's attacking this guy's big blind. He has shown to be willing to play back. He has 3-bet us before. do that with a solid hand. We then have position on him. If he 3-bets us, if we have a solid hand, we can just call, although with 30 big blinds we obviously can't, but I'm not sure about that. We get lucky though, and we get there. Ace-9, guy mean raises, guy shoves over it with 15 big blinds. I think would have called here. Like he does this pretty wide. He just leathered up. So he has been inactive, right? Let's think about it like that. So this guy has been inactive. Why has he been inactive? That's the first question. Why has this guy been inactive? First of all, he's been inactive because this guy was shorter stacked, was way more active, and was more likely to get eliminated by one of you two. And he can just fold his way into third position. That's basically his reasoning here. Now this guy has been really active. He has the biggest stack. He has shown a lot of activity, especially on the bottom. So he min raises. Like he does it with anything, like literally anything. And then this guy shoves over that, and he's like, yeah, I probably have like an ace, maybe a king, suited connectors, like king queen. He does this. King jack. He does this. Queen jack, maybe, probably not. Like weaker aces, he does that. Ace 8, ace 7, ace 6, all down. He does that as well. I think I would call that there. Like if we call that, there's no way this guy is gonna call. No way. His range is so wide there. Sure, if he has anything, he's gonna call. Suck it up. I mean, that's poker, but he's so unlikely to call there, and you probably have this guy's range beat with your ace 9. Sure, ace 9 is borderline, but even if we lose that, we still have 11 big blinds, and I would be fine with that. I don't see myself folding there. King 4, yeah, fold. So yeah, as you can see, just the very next hand, this guy realizes that, okay, we have third position locked up. I'm gonna open a bit more wide. So ace 9, we should min raise here. Again, why do suddenly go 2.5x while all the previous times we've gone 8,000s? We have position. If he calls, we can play this post flop fine. We're deep enough to make some plays. Just make it 8,000. Don't change your bet sizing for some odd reason into other things. Like if you make it 9,000, fine, but make it 9,000 every time. With any hand, you want to do that. Like if it's a bluff, make it 9,000. If it's a good hand, make it 9,000. Like just be consistent in what you do. Here again, guy has shown activity. I'm fine with defending with queen 7 in position. Gotta have a post flop hand though. Think about it. What do you want to do post flop here? Because this guy is gonna lead out any kind of flop. Like if we hit our 7, are we gonna continue? Do we think our queen high is good? Are we gonna continue here? Nope, apparently not. So this guy is gonna c-bet any flop. Like if you defend with queen 7, have a post flop hand, have an idea of my opponent is gonna c-bet. His c-bet is gonna be about that big. What am I gonna do if I hit my 7? What am I gonna do if I hit my queen? What am I gonna do with that kind of flop? Just have a plan in your mind before you make the call. Sure, we have position. I'm fine with defending queen 7 there. I'm 100% fine with that. And then the fold obviously on the flop is fine, because that flop is terrible for us. Ace high has a beat, queen high has a beat. We just have 2 overs. We don't know if any of them is live. Like he could have king queen, and then if queen comes, we're screwed. Like and if we don't hit, we just called. And the thing is, if you float that flop, and some garbage card comes or any card comes, and he checks to us on the turn, how likely is he gonna fold to a bet? Like those are things you have to think about. If you call the flop, you have to think about what's gonna happen on the turn and how I'm gonna play it on the turn if some kind of action happens from my opponent. If I hit my 7 and he leads out again, am I gonna shove on him? Am I just gonna call? Am I because there's a lot of other river cards that scare you probably. What does my shove achieve? Does it seem bluffy? Is he gonna call with ace high? Is he gonna call with open enders there? Because I think it had a gut shot or something. Because it was 2, 3, 5, 7. No, it's not a gut shot. I could have a gut shot, but it seems unlikely. As you can see, this guy is really active. Like the hand with the ace 9 would snap call this guy. Would have been like, yeah, sure, show me what you got. Like I want to see what you're playing here. Yeah, 4-5 on the button. I think we folded there. We have 23 big blinds. We're about even All of us are even. Pretty scared board for these guys. Check, check. I'm not gonna skip this hand because it's pretty interesting. 10 doesn't change much. Guy does lead out. It's pretty scared board now. Without the diamonds, it's pretty hard to continue. And normally, like, if he had King of Diamonds, Queen of Diamonds, maybe Jack of Diamonds even, but King of Queen of Diamonds, he would have semi-bluffed this flop, right? He would have c-bet, or he would have bet on this flop, like be like, yeah, what do you have? And he then has might fold if he floats and this comes. He obviously has nuts, and he could play for value, so it's a semi-bluff. So he realizes that this guy does not have a diamond because he did not bet on that flop and can get him off. So this guy does that with any cards as well. Here 3-10, that's a fold, especially with his shove here, and another fold. This time it's obvious that he folds, but look at it again. This is the second time he folds. When he opens the button, he's opening the button with any two cards here. Like this guy probably as well, just a button, any two cards. And then we're just folding, and then I think we need to be a bit more active, play a bit more with our cards, and then fix a bit our bet sizing or post-flop plan, I guess. So check call. Check here seems weird because if you call here, the jack completes the flush, makes it trips. His c-bet is pretty standard there. I think we can lead out on the turn and take the pot often enough. Like, I'm just talking about this guy, right? I think he should lead out on the turn and he can take the pot often enough. Maybe he has showdown value, I don't know. He leads out on the river then and does get a call. I think it's a bit too late to bluff. So he rivered the 9, that's why he never will gonna fold, wow. But I think if you want to bluff at it, like the 9, it's pretty much a semi-bluff, right? Like it's a bluff because of the 9. If you get called, how good is it? Almost never any good. So it's a bluff. I think that if you lead out on the turn, it's a really scary card for queens. He might float, and then if we find our 9 good enough, we can shove, and he's gonna fold his queens there. I think he folds his queens when that board there, we lead the turn and we shove the river. It's gonna fold his queens. 6-10. No, split pot. Okay, got it. Jack deuce on the big blind. We're gonna fold this, especially if he shoves. That's a pretty weird shove here. Like we're deep. No clue why he shoves here. But we like Jack deuce. Obviously don't have the hand. We have 16 big blinds. He opens really wide. I think a shove here is fine. Like he opens really wide. We can't just 3-bet because well, 3-betting has the same result, but we're never gonna fold after we 3-bet anyway, so shoving there is fine. Open here is fine as well. We have an ace. Suited ace doesn't really matter, but we have an ace, and that's pretty good. 7-5. Do I want to defend here with 7-5? Get great odds apparently. 3-1. I think it's a fine defense. He does this with any 2. We have decent hand to play post flop. I think getting 3-1, which we should have to defend that. Although the guy has 10 big blinds, they are 1. Yeah, I guess. Wow. Let's look over that again. So again, it folds to us. So this guy doesn't open his button. Pretty weird because this guy has been opening his button pretty wide. So we assume queen deuce is ahead of this guy's range. So we min raise. We go to 2 big blinds, making this guy fold. But he has 10 big blinds already posted one, so it's 9 big blinds behind. Your min raise seems really weak because you've been shoving a bunch, and we make the min raise and we then get shoved on. So he shoves on us. We get not 2-1. 38% is a bit too low. I like the fold, but I think we have to keep in mind what are we gonna do. I don't think we're gonna get a lot of folds out of him. Like, he's gonna shove king high, queen high probably as well, and our queen is terrible. And even if it just flats, which would seem unlikely with 10 big blinds, you're terrible post flop with that hand. Just fold, move on, and let this guy maybe deal with him. I don't know. 12 big blinds, fold. So yeah, he's shoving really wide here. Gotta keep that in mind, that he just shoved twice. We have ace jack. If he shoves here, we're snapping. He folds. He probably raises and we shove, right? Because again, we can't 3-bet. I don't want to give him a free flop, and yeah, I think a shove there is fine. We want to get it all in. We might 3-bet, but then he can just call. If you're looking to get it all in, a 3-bet might be better, but I'm not sure about that. So this time the guy gets a walk. Ace king on the button. Min raise, please. That's fine. Again, we usually min raise, like we min raise on the steal and so on. Why do we suddenly go 11,000 instead of 10,000? Like, makes no sense. Our bet sizing basically tells what if we have it or not. Because if we min raise, we never have had it. We always. Again, why defend here with 4-10 when you do not defend like 5-7? How does 5-7 not play better post flop than 4-10? Sure, 10 high is better than the 7 high, but 5-10 is connected, 4-10 is uber garbage. Like, if you fold 5-7, why not fold the 4-10? There's no consistency there. Here, again, this guy opens way too wide. Like, he's opening any button here, any button, and we fold queen jack. Like, sure, we have action behind us and he might shove, and then we can reevaluate, but I think we have to flat there with the queen jack. Although that gives him odds to shove, maybe that plays in. 7-9 would have opened here as well. This is he has 16 big blinds. I guess that's why he does that. But I think I would have liked to open with that hand as well, because he plays nice post flop. He's now a bit bigger stacked. And notice these guys are willing to play post flop even with these short stacks, because it works. It's definitely possible to do so. And we're not. We're like shoving like pocket fours. We're probably shoving here. This guy opens and we're gonna snap or something. I don't know. We're taking a flip. Apparently we're taking a flip. Pretty scary here. Guy shows. Has to have his beat, right? Queen jack. See, he does that way wide. Okay, it's always a flip, by the way, with fours. So we get a bit lucky. I don't see why we don't defend with some hands and then call a shove with fours, which is always a flip. And if it's not a flip, we're crushed. Here we defend deuce 9, which I think is a bit too wide. We could have easily folded that. Deuce jack plays terrible post flop and we're out of position. What are we gonna do now? Lead on the river to take this spot? No, we're just gonna give it up. Jack high might be good by the fact that it checks behind twice. It wasn't. Yeah, he's not gonna believe us. Maybe if we lead on turn, like we floated him anyway, and if we then lead on a turn, we got this. Like, a king is a really scary card for a queen even. Like, we floated him and we then lead out on a turn. We can definitely represent the king. There's no way we can represent the king on the turn when paired there. 7-3 I would fold here, but if you fold 7-3 I would fold jack 2s as well. Like, jack 2s plays terrible post flop. 3-9, we're on the button. I just fold this. Instead we go way too high. Again, no clue why the 13,500 instead of a 12,000. Although this time we did it with a hand that didn't have anything. See, this guy is willing to fold his button. Just do so. Just fold your trash hands on the button. Like, You have plenty of hands. King 9, definitely a really strong hand. Would like to see him in raise here. Or 13,500, whatever size you decide on. I think this is a snap. Like he does this with an ace, of course, but King 9 is good enough, I think. Maybe it's on the low end. The guy is gonna show up with an ace here often enough. And he did indeed have an ace. He actually had a straight here. So we end second. Great result, but as I said, there are some hands that I have my doubts about not defending, about the shoving while we min raise with the steal, like the ace queen there, where I went a bit of a tangent. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you for the next one.